Hello there, welcome back to The Groomsman. I'll be your host, Jonathan. I know it's been a while since I made a video. Stuff gets in the way. Life, work, I've been working a different shift, kind of mess up my circadian rhythm. I don't get to see my kids as often, so I try to maximize my time I get with my family. But I'm sneaking in a shave here before I get to work today. I'm using La Mano Chimord. This is the hand that bites. This is in K2E by Ariana and Evans, sold out of the club. This is primarily a black tea scent, which I like black tea scents a lot. This one really stands out for me amongst all my black tea scents or tea scents in general. It's just got a lot going on and I really like it all. It's got a slight bit of sweetness from some jasmine in there. And the tea itself is just a little bit spicy from the cardamom. And then it's got this really nice creamy sandalwood base. It really makes this like nice warm spiced tea with like, you know, a shot of cream in it. It just smells so good. Really, really nice. Probably my favorite tea scent. It's great. It's fantastic. Got that all lathered up here. I'm just using, it's just a plain white Apshaveco handle and a 2-band badger from Maggards. I got this a long time ago off Facebook. It was actually my first badger, like my first quality badger brush. Got it off Facebook from someone who was selling it. It was set a little too low, so it didn't splay. It was really tight. But luckily they used silicone, so I was able to pull the knot out, and then I put a spacer underneath and reset it a little bit higher, and it's pretty amazing now. I'm going to lather that up real quick. I do have some pre-shave on. I put some pre-shave oil. I've been using the Badger Vetiver and Vanilla pre-shave oil. Works pretty well. K2E cream is fantastic. It's probably my favorite. I go back, you know, there's several that kind of all vie for that top spot. But I really like the K2, K2E, the Kaizen. They're all really, really close. But I really like this K2E. I get asked a lot if I prefer Kaizen base versus the newer Ultima base. And at first I couldn't really answer it honestly because I hadn't used anything like the Ultima base enough to really judge it against something else. But now that some time has passed, I would say, yeah, I still prefer the K2E. The Ultima base is really good. It's very, very thick. It takes a lot of water. I like a thicker shave soap. I like a very dense lather. But the Ultima is it's a lot dense. It's very, very dense. And because of that, it takes a lot of water. So it's a bit easier to make it like not hydrated enough. And then it's really too thick on the face. It's still really good. I just prefer the K2E. It's a little easier to work with. It's perfect every time. I never really have to fight bubbles out of the K2E lather. It's perfect right from the get-go. It's fantastic. For the shave, I'm using my Sta-Sharp. I got this back from Razor Emporium a little over a week ago. Maybe not quite a week ago. If you watched one of my previous videos, I had sent this out for new scales because my original scales, when I bought this razor, it's got a little broken tip there. So when they first sent it back, these scales were twice this width. And I didn't really care for that. I thought it was going to be more matched. I didn't ask for extra large scales. I just wanted the shape to be the same. Now it's a lot closer. So like just a little bit bigger, but in a good way. I like it as far as the shape. I like the color. I mean, that's the color I picked out, this G10 Jade. But, here's the but. The execution wasn't great. They took the old scales with these original ones and they obviously like shaved off the extra portion I didn't like because it was like this wide. It was way too big for the blade. I didn't like the way it looked. But if you can see these corner tips here, they didn't do a great job. So the scales don't match up. So these tips are off. They're not shaved at the same angle, which, you know, is visually not great appealing. It's the same thing for this side. I don't know if it's hard to, you can see this part right here. They're not exactly flush. It's off, not a lot, but enough. And so this being off here, these being off here, it leads this whole scale, this side is just a little bit wider on this side. So I can like feel it when I rub my hand. And I can see it. I can see, it's probably hard to catch on the camera, but like the roundness of the scale as it goes up, it's off a little bit on these two. It's a little bit lower right here than right here. It's closer to even here, but this still has a lip on it that this one doesn't. It's a little less noticeable on the inside. But the overall appearance is they're not off. They're not equal, and it kind of just gives a whole vibe to it that it's not, you know, I didn't pay $20 for these scales. They were like $100. You know, I paid for a honing, which was $39, and then the scales, and I think it was over like 140 bucks for the total price. And then I had the discount code for Black Friday, but still, even with the discount code, that was a lot. So I'm pretty disappointed in the overall scales. It wasn't right the first time, but they offered to make it right, and it just feels like they didn't really take any time when they were fixing these to make them more sized appropriate like I asked. It was just like a quick rant through whatever machine thing you used to cut this, and they didn't, you know, it shifted a little bit. So one of the scales, I imagine they were on top of each other, and one shifted a little bit, so they weren't even, and they didn't check. Well, either they didn't check to see if they were even, or they just didn't care. I mean, those are really the two options. They didn't check, the quality control wasn't there to notice, or they did notice and they were like, it's not that big of a deal. But I gotta say, for me, it's a big deal. I paid a lot of money for this, and it's kind of disappointing. I did shave with this once. I got the honing info from them this time. They used 1K bevel set, 3K hone, 8K hone, 10K shaft and polish, a green pasted strop, and then finished on a black Arkansas surgical sharp ultrafine, and then they stropped it. So it showed up shave ready, stropped. When I used it the first time a few days ago, was not shave ready. It cut. The first time I used this, it did not cut. This time it definitely cut. It was very uncomfortable. It was tuggy. It just wasn't smooth at all. So it was weird that it was cutting better, but it wasn't very polished. Like the edge was it was pulling a lot. I tested after the shave. I went to another razor and I finished up the shave. And then I tried it on my arm and felt how uncomfortable it was. And then I stropped it on both sides of my strop, on the canvas side and then my leather side. And then I tried it again and it was significantly smoother. So I'm gonna give it another try today with that stropped edge and see how it goes. I haven't decided what I'm gonna do as far as contacting them yet. I haven't. I've been sitting about it for a week and so I'm trying not to be too angry about it. I don't think I want to send it back. You know, I initially sent this to them right after Black Friday. So it's been like 2 weeks. It's a world of difference from what it was. I did shave it, or I did record that day too, but I was just unhappy and it kind of showed in the video and I didn't really like it, so I didn't post it. You'll just have to take my word for it that it's better now after I stropped it. I don't know if it's the smoothest straight razor I've ever used. Like the edge. Maybe this edge, maybe finished on a natural stone like that Arkansas, that edge isn't for me. Maybe it's that. It's a possibility. I'm not trying to make excuses, but it's better. But it's not knocking my socks off right now. Like, it's definitely cutting. It's just not as smooth as I feel like it should be. That's definitely doing its job. So right now I'm getting ready to send some razors out. I'm trying to pick which one I have. I have a Boker I'm thinking about sending out to Glenn Mercurio, who's been recommended by almost everybody that's ever recommended me to go to. Like, when you ask, hey, who should I send this razor to for a hone? It's always his name on top. I've gotten more recommendations than anyone else. And Rex, one of our viewers who I had recently sent out my winning 2.0 razor to try out, he highly recommended Glenn. That he's the best he's got for honing. And so I'm going to send a razor out to him for sure. I'm debating sending this one out to see if the edge that Glenn puts on it, if I can tell a difference or not. I don't see any reason why not to at this point, because I'm not thrilled with the edge. It's not wowing me, but I don't see any reason to keep this razor as is. But I like the blade enough. I mean, the blade is awesome looking. It's got this really cool edging. The edging is in like such good shape. The blade itself is in such good shape. And this was made in Germany, made over in Solingen, but it was sold by Sears and Roebuck, or distributed by Sears and Roebuck back in the day out of Chicago. And I dig the blade. I mean, it looks super sharp, and it's a Sta-Sharp, which just sounds cool. Oh. I was wetting my face for the next pass and I realized I forgot to get this little spot right here. I mean, it's cutting, but it's not cutting as smooth as, say, the Giraffe razor that I've used. I probably use that razor on video as far as my straight razors go more than any other. I don't think it's as smooth as that. And that razor was not professionally honed. I did that one. I have a couple honing stones of various quality and lapping paper, mostly lapping paper, and felt like it was a lot smoother. It is a lot smoother. I'm not gonna say I feel like it is. Definitely, the Giraffe was a lot smoother than the Sta-Sharp that I got from Razor Emporium. I want to be nice, but I'm not happy with it. I did send the Wade and Butcher back with them as well. That had a polishing and a hone, and I wasn't real happy with the hone. And then I didn't think the polishing was that great. There were some spots where you could tell they just flat out missed on, like the tang still had a lot of like black, like carbon dust, and it wasn't polished clean at all. And that was what I paid for. I paid for that razor to get polished and nice and shined up, and it hadn't been done that way. Or at least not to my satisfaction, not to the way they described it would be. So I sent that back. It's the same time as the Sta-Sharp. I got that here. This initially had gold leaf on the scales there. I might get some gold leaf and redo that because I think it looked neat. It's more polished. Maybe my expectations are off for what can be done with a polish versus what can be done with a regrind. And you see there's still like black tarnish marks on the blade, and I thought those would come off being polished. They're not pitting that I can tell. I don't feel any pitting. It feels very smooth. It's just black. But maybe it's like micro pitting, and I'm just being over, I don't know, I'm expecting more than what I can get out of it. But we'll try that one. So I initially tried this one. I had the same kind of thing. It felt tuggy. I stropped it. It felt better. We'll try a shave with this one as well. So honestly, that was about, and granted, I'm doing a second pass, so the hair growth isn't as long, but that felt like significantly smoother than the Sta-Sharp. Yeah, maybe I should have done one cheek each, because this feels smoother, obviously, without the hair growth. So It might just be that. It might be, not that it's necessarily smoother, but that it's, you know, working a little less so it feels smoother. It feels better though. Doing a good job too. And plenty of hair removal there. I'll try the Sta-Sharp again. Maybe it's just didn't handle the growth. Nope. The Wade & Butcher Elite is definitely smoother. It feels a lot nicer on the skin. It doesn't catch as much. The Sta-Sharp tends to like catch and doesn't like cleanly cut through the whiskers, so it kind of catches and skips, which I don't like. It's not comfortable, leads to cutting. Leads to irritation. It really does make me wonder if they do test shaves with the blades after they hone them. It doesn't say anywhere in their policy. I did ask that, I think in the initial email when I first asked, you know, brought up the issues I had. It's like, hey, I wondered if do they test shave, but it wasn't addressed. I didn't ask it like directly, it was more of a, hey, I wonder if they test shave these. And it wasn't addressed, so I don't know. I could have asked it more directly, I guess, and gotten an answer one way or the other, but it's kind of the impression I get. It's like they feel wildly different. So I feel like maybe he does like, I don't know, cut a tomato or check on his fingernail or hair or something like that, but he doesn't actually shave, you know, do a shave. This spot right here tends to give me some irritation against the grain for some reason recently. It definitely feels a lot better too, this one from with the strop. I'm pretty happy with this blade. I wish it was a little shinier, but maybe I just need to manage my expectations on what can be done with the polish versus their grind. I didn't want to grind off the Elite etching on there. I'm okay with that, I guess. The hone is a lot better, especially after the strop. It's just loads smoother. I found it's a little difficult to shave around the goatee without cutting into it. Still working on it. I need a little easier on my right hand with this side, but this side's a little... That worked pretty well. That was a pretty good 2-pass shave there. With the Wade & Butcher, the Elite, I like that a lot better. It definitely cut down a lot of growth. I still got a with the grain pass. I'm not mastered that yet with the straight razor. I did do, you know, obviously a little bit against the neck. It's more of a, where my hair grows this way, it's more of a cross the grain or a diagonal. Yeah, anyways. So I'm gonna do one cleanup pass. I'm gonna use a Schick today, I can't remember what this called. It's a Type L, and I'm forgetting the name right now, I'll remember it. But I'm gonna do that cleanup pass off camera, and then I'll do a cold water rinse, and I'll be back for a post shave. All right, I'm back, thanks for sticking with me. I did that pass up, the Paul Revere, the cleanup, I said pass up. The cleanup with the Schick Paul Revere. It's an unofficial title. This handle was done by International Silver. I think it was done as a giveaway, or not a giveaway. You had to like mail in an advertisement from a magazine, and you got one for free. But they called it the Paul Revere because they did a line of like flatware, like forks and knives and stuff that had this handle, and I think it was called the Paul Revere set. And so they called it the Paul Revere as a nickname. But pretty neat. Mine's a little tarnished, so old. These are kind of hard to find. I see them on eBay every once in a while, but they're usually pretty expensive. They usually go for more than 60 bucks a piece. And I was happy with this one I found for like $5, and I'm okay with the tarnish on it. It's silver-plated plastic for the handle, in case anyone's noticed. The handle is a little bit slick, but I actually like the handle length, especially against the grain. It's like really natural to like hold that kind of knob in there, and it's very smooth, like a normal Type L head. But with that like smoothness, that kind of minimum blade feel, it's a little easy to overshave. I did a little bit of that. I don't know if you can see a little redness right here where I kind of pressed a little bit too much. Got a little overzealous with the touch-ups. Got a little burn there. I use a matching Hand That Bites Splack Tea. The jasmine's a little bit more prevalent in the splash, but that kind of bright sweet scent also kind of goes away pretty quick. It's just like a nice punch in the nose, and then it kind of fades away, and the base notes kind of come out, that more creaminess from that labdanum and the sandalwood, and then that nice kind of slightly spicy tea scent with the tea and the cardamom. It's great. I love this scent. That was the shave. I'm not 100% certain what I'm going to do with this. I love the Sta-Sharp as far as like the looks. I mean, there's a small possibility it's the blade, right? Some blades are harder to hone, some vintage razors are harder to get an edge on. I see all the time people that spent ages trying to get a good edge on a blade, and they can't find it, it doesn't work, and then they, you know, for whatever reason it works better on a different combination of stones, and they were using some Japanese natural stones, and they switched to an Arkansas, or they switched to synthetics, or whatever it happens to be, and sometimes that makes a difference in getting a good edge, and maybe that plays a factor. I am kind of curious if these were done. There's no indication that these were done any differently. So as far as I know, they were both done on the same progression. So it is different, or it is interesting that the razors have different feel to the edges. The Wade & Butcher Elite definitely felt a lot smoother, a lot less tugginess. I still got some shave soap on there. It felt like a much nicer edge than the Sta-Sharp on my face. And they're both hollow ground. I don't know. The spine on the Sta-Sharp's a little bigger than the Wade & Butcher, but I mean, the blades are pretty similar in size. I think the Sta-Sharp's slightly longer, but I think the grind is the same. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I'm going to send the Sta-Sharp out to Glenn with another razor, with one of those, a Boker that I got recently, and have him put the blades in, and I can compare some brands. I don't think that it's worth trying to send it back to RE. I don't know if the edge would be any different sending it back to them. I'm not super happy with the scales, and I have no, I don't want to send it back to them and it be gone for another couple of weeks to maybe get done right for the third time. It's been 2 months already. I don't know if I want to give any more time to that. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm considering asking for a refund, or at least a partial refund for the scales being done incorrectly. What do you guys think? What do you think I should do? Hit me up in the comments. Let me know. Enjoy the shave. I'm glad to be back with you. I know it's been a while. Sorry for that. I'll get back onto, I don't know, not a normal schedule because I'm on a weird work schedule, but I'll get back onto figuring out my normal schedule for my life at the moment, and figure the best time to get these videos done. And I'll see you here then.